Okay guys, well this nightmare is, I believe, is coming to the end. You guys, many of you were right from the first video. Got the fuel sample. So this is what the normal fuel is supposed to look. You can actually pretty much see through it, right? And look, I don't know, it's just nice and clean. So let's take a fuel sample. I got my fuel pressure gauge, and I'm gonna dump my hose, and I'm just gonna, suck some of the fuel out. So we're gonna start with a nice clean container. Nothing is in it, no debris or anything. So let's get this hose, and all I gotta do is just turn the ignition on, a couple of times just to get the fuel, just to pump some fuel samples out, and let's see what we got. It takes like a dozen times. I have to turn the key on just to fill up that canister, that bottle. Alright, that should do it. Look at how cloudy that is. That's bad. Now, already here you can see some deposits. Look at how much crap is at the bottom of it. It's like a water and who knows what else. But I started with a a clean canister. You guys could see it was dry and everything. Look at that. Water, and most likely it was when she filled it up, the tank at the gas station was at the bottom, and they just pump all the crud into the car. I'm gonna let this settle down for 5 to 10 minutes, and then we'll look at it again. Okay, this is 15 minutes later. I had some additional light, and you can see, guys, that this sediment that's at the bottom of the look at all that. It's almost like it's a water as well, but look at how much dirt is in it. I mean, that's just from this much of the fuel, and this tank has to be cleaned up. The new filter needs to be installed. It's the water. I mean, this was sucked from the bottom of the this is crazy. This is water. So anyhow, look at that. Wow. Well, okay guys, this is the next day. This is pretty cloudy, and you can see all the water see how much water we have in a fuel. I guess some of this could be now alcohol as well, because the water is going to attract the alcohol, but it's pretty nasty. I mean, look at all that. So I'm going to have a pretty busy weekend. I'm going to pump all of the fuel out of the tank. I will take the fuel pump out. It's underneath the rear seat. It's pretty easy to get to it. So I'm going to take the pump out, clean all the strainers, pump the fuel out, and then I have to order the fuel filter. That's going to take a couple of days at least. For this weekend, I can empty it my tanks, get everything cleaned up, and then wait until I get new filter, and now I need to flush all the fuel lines. I don't think it's going to be a big deal, but the problem is going to be how to clean up the fuel injectors. I have nothing to to do that, so I have to look around to see if one of the shops can do it for me, and so that's going to be the next step. Alright, so at least right now I have some solid evidence, what can cause this problem, and I want to thank everyone for great support in this series, in this nightmare that I had. Now, will this be 100% fixed? We'll see. If this doesn't fix, then I will have to replace or clean the injectors, find a way how to get the injectors cleaned up. Now, in my last video, I did not reply to everybody. I actually made my comment in a comment section, and I'm afraid that some of you guys didn't see that, but I kind of went what I actually did until I actually get the fuel sample. And now I know what I did anymore. I swap injectors number 1 and number 6. It was a great suggestion. Instead of getting the new injector, I swap it. Didn't make any difference at all. I use a first look sensor in the intake, looking at the intake pulses. That was okay. I could not use my first look sensor in a exhaust because this is a dual exhaust system, so that didn't work. And now, I mean, this has to be fixed. Now, again, why did it take so long for me to get to this point to check the fuel? And many of you guys actually suggested to get the fuel sample. Well, because I was moving to, I kept looking and analyzing my ignition waveform, and this was a problem on bank 2, most on cylinder number 6. Now, to me, having a bad fuel pressure, bad fuel filter would affect the whole engine. Well, for some reason it didn't. And maybe when the fuel gets to the injector number 6 first and then causes the misfire, maybe the water gets in there first. I don't know. I have no idea why it's doing that. Now, also we have a problem with the oxygen sensor on bank 1. Now, I really did not worry much about that sensor because most of the time this car would actually misfire at the first startup, and that was during the open loop. And also this car has a secondary air injection system that actually pumps the whole bunch of air into the intake to warm up the catalytic converter. So computer doesn't even look the oxygen sensor at the first startup. So I knew that is a problem, but I knew there was not the number 1 problem that can cause all this crazy stuff going on. That would be when the engine is warmed up, gets into the closed loop, and then a fuel trim goes stupid looking at the oxygen sensor and that kind of stuff. So the oxygen sensor will need to be replaced, but actually it will be interesting to see what the oxygen sensor is going to look like once we get everything cleaned up and get injectors cleaned up, and we're going to repeat everything again to see how the O2 sensor will respond to that. And so for now, this is it. Again, I want to thank everyone for great support, and appreciate you guys stick with me through all this ordeal. And now at least I have some solid evidence. I have to take care of this for sure. I mean, it's not like I'm now going to start swapping parts and tossing the parts in the car for no reason. This is a problem for sure. And I'm going to get this weekend. I'm going to get my tank pumped out, pump the fuel out of the tank, and then get everything cleaned up, and then wait for the filter, and that's going to be next video. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much, and see you in part. That would be 8, I believe. Well, I don't know. We'll see. Thank you. Bye bye. And before I finish, I just finished the pumping everything out of the fuel tank, and this is how much water was in the tank. This is just a part of it. I could not suck everything into this container. I had to kind of siphon between 2 different containers, but this thing was full of water and gunk and everything. So, all right, see how that nasty looks. All right.